Hi, I'm Darren here, and welcome back to this video series. Now, in the previous video series, what I did was I shared with my fellow friends about how exactly to craft interview questions, and I've shared the three different kinds of questions. The first one is called an open-ended question, the second one is called close-ended, and the last one is what we call leading questions. And I've also shared about how exactly you can move on to talk about the physical description of an individual before moving on to the emotional level and then finally to the thought patterns. In this video series, I'm going to share with you the next step of interview skills. I'm going to share with you, if you were to be the interviewer, how exactly you can ask not just open-ended or close-ended or leading questions, but more importantly, to ask follow-up questions, because sometimes the answers that we may glean from the interviewee might not exactly be the best one, or it might not be complete. So what we intend to do is ultimately to be able to ask follow-up questions so that we can get the most out of the experience. Here there are three key techniques that I'd love to share with you. Technique number one is to do what we call clarification questions. What exactly are clarification questions? Clarification questions are questions, as the name suggests, to clarify on some of the concepts and some of the things explained and expounded upon by the interviewee. For example, if the interviewee were to say, "I love playing sports," one clarification question that you can ask would be to probe further and say, when you say sports, could you list us some of the sports that you love to engage in? These are what we call clarification questions. It could also be for certain answers which can be ambiguous or which may be rather vague and you want to seek more disclosure. For instance, the interviewee may say that, "Well, I hate that sort of thing." Now, of course, to us as third parties, we have no idea what it means. Therefore, we need to ask clarification questions and ask, for example, when you say that sort of thing, could you perhaps elaborate a little bit more and give us more details as to what it really means? That's the first technique. Technique number two is to ask implication questions. What exactly are implication questions? Implication questions are questions that point towards the consequences of a certain answer or certain concept given by the interviewee. For example, if the interviewee were to say, "Well, every single week I clean the classrooms for the students of this high school," the implication question as a follow-up could then be, "What do you think are some of the benefits that students have as a result of you performing your duties to the best of your abilities, cleaning up the classrooms every single day?" Then you will get the interviewee to say more and to disclose more. The final question that you can ask would be perhaps what we call a hypothetical. A hypothetical often tests the interviewee's ability to apply some of the skills, some of the experiences that he or she has acquired. For example, if the answer given was, "Well, I always believe in helping others in whichever capacity that I can't garner." If that's indeed the case, then you can perhaps ask a hypothetical. So for example, you see an old man who has tripped and fall on the road. Now, what would you do about it? Is it within your capacity? And what are some of the considerations you have in your mind before you choose to help that particular person? A hypothetical is essentially a scenario that might not have happened, but essentially what you would do, given your own principles, given your own preconceived notions, given your own concepts, and how you would apply that to those given facts of that hypothetical. With that, what have I shared with you today? I've shared with you three main follow-up questions that you can ask to get more disclosure from the interviewee. Number one, I've shared clarification questions. Number two, I've shared more about implication questions. And the last one, hypotheticals. With that, I hope that you have fun conducting your very own interview and enjoying gleaning the most out from the interviewees. I'll see you very soon.